Imagine a world where losing a limb wasn't a life-changing event, but just a temporary inconvenience. A world where, if you lost an arm, a new one would grow back in a matter of weeks, just like a lizard growing back its tail. While this might sound like something out of a science fiction movie, it's a concept that has fascinated scientists for years. The idea that humans could regrow lost body parts, like a salamander or a starfish, is both incredible and mind-boggling. But as amazing as our bodies are at healing, why can't we take that next step and regenerate whole body parts? Humans are already good at healing wounds and broken bones. Let's start with broken bones. When you fracture a bone, your body immediately jumps into action. Specialized cells called osteoclasts break down and remove the damaged bone tissue, making way for new cells called osteoblasts to come in and start building new bone. Depending on the seriousness of the fracture, this process can take anywhere from 6 weeks to several months. Minor fractures can heal in about 6 to 8 weeks, but more complicated breaks, like those involving larger bones or joints, might take up to several months or longer. It's a complex process that requires a lot of energy and precision, but eventually, the bone heals and becomes as strong as it was before the injury. Wound healing is another area where our bodies shine. When you cut yourself, your body's first priority is to stop the bleeding. Red blood cells rush to the scene to form a clot, essentially plugging up the hole to prevent further blood loss. Meanwhile, white blood cells get to work cleaning up any bacteria or debris that might have entered the wound, helping to prevent infection. Once the initial damage control is taken care of, the real healing begins. Skin cells start to multiply and spread over the wound, gradually closing it up. This process can take anywhere from a few days for a small cut to a couple of weeks for deeper wounds. But there's a catch. Despite how good we are at healing, our bodies don't always do it perfectly. Take scars, for example. When a wound is deep enough, your body can't fully replace the damaged tissue with new skin. Instead, it uses collagen, a tough, fibrous protein, to patch up the area. This collagen is thicker and less flexible than the surrounding skin, which is why scars often look and feel different. While most scars fade over time, they never completely disappear. In fact, deep scars can last a lifetime, serving as a permanent reminder of the injury. This brings us to the big question. If our bodies can heal to such an extent, why can't we regrow lost limbs or organs? The answer lies in our cells, specifically, the type of cells we have and how they work. Our bodies are made up of many different types of cells, each with its own specific job. But the real stars of regeneration are pluripotent stem cells. These are special cells that have the ability to turn into any other type of cell in the body. In animals like salamanders and axolotls, these stem cells are activated when they lose a body part, and they start the process of growing a new one. Humans also have stem cells, but ours are a bit different. We have stem cells that help us grow and repair tissues to a certain extent, but they're not capable of regenerating complex structures like limbs. Instead, when we're injured, our bodies focus on healing the wound as best as they can, usually by forming scar tissue. So, while we have the ability to regrow certain simple structures like nails and hair, regenerating something as complex as an arm or a leg is beyond our biological capabilities. Another key player in this process is a gene called TGF-beta1. In animals that can regrow body parts, like salamanders, TGF-beta1 tells their cells to start the regeneration process. It's like a switch that activates the body's repair system on a whole new level. Interestingly, humans also have this gene, but it works a bit differently for us. Rather than triggering full-on regeneration, it helps with wound healing by telling cells to create scar tissue and repair the damage. It's almost as if we have the blueprint for regeneration, but are missing a few crucial pages. Let's talk about tissue survival in the case of a severe injury. Imagine a scenario where a part of your body, like a finger, gets severed. What happens next? Without any intervention, the tissue can survive for about 3 to 6 hours. After that, it starts to degrade due to a lack of blood supply, which is essential for keeping the cells alive. This is where ice becomes a lifesaver, literally. By cooling the tissue, you can slow down its metabolism, effectively putting it on pause. This can extend its survival time to about 24 hours, giving doctors a better chance of successfully reattaching the severed part. But even then, it's a race against time, so why can't we just regrow a lost finger? Or for that matter, An entire arm? The short answer is that we lack the necessary biological machinery. Our bodies have evolved to prioritize healing over regeneration. When a body part is lost, the focus shifts to closing up the wound and preventing infection rather than trying to regrow the lost limb. Teeth and nails are exceptions to this rule because they're relatively simple structures. But what if we could change that? What if we could reawaken the regenerative potential in our cells? Scientists are already exploring this possibility, studying creatures that can regenerate and experimenting with ways to induce similar processes in humans. Imagine if, in the future, losing a limb didn't mean living with a prosthetic but simply waiting for a few weeks while your body grew a new one. It sounds like science fiction now, but so did many of the medical miracles we take for granted today, like organ transplants and gene therapy. But regeneration might not be as straightforward as it seems. The process of regrowing a body part would require an incredible amount of energy and resources from the body, which might have to be diverted from other critical functions. For example, regenerating a limb would likely demand a huge amount of nutrients, oxygen, and other resources, which could put a significant strain on the body. There's also the question of whether the new body part would be as functional as the original. After all, it's one thing to regrow a simple structure like a nail, but it's a whole other challenge to regrow a complex limb with bones, muscles, nerves, and blood vessels all working together. Despite these challenges, the potential benefits of unlocking human regeneration are enormous. Imagine the impact on people who have lost limbs due to accidents or illness, or those suffering from chronic diseases that cause their organs to fail. The ability to regrow lost body parts could transform their lives, giving them a second chance at a fully functional body. It could also reduce the need for organ transplants, which are often in short supply, and eliminate the risk of transplant rejection. For now, though, we'll have to make do with our impressive but limited healing abilities. While we might not be able to regrow a lost arm, we can still be amazed at the way our bodies heal themselves after an injury, forming new bone, skin, and tissue to repair the damage. And who knows, maybe one day, with advances in genetics and stem cell research, we'll be able to unlock the full potential of our body's regenerative abilities. Until then, we'll just have to be a little more careful with our fingers and hope that science continues to push the boundaries of what's possible. After all, if salamanders can do it, why not us?